What's up, champions? I hope you're doing amazing. I know you are if you're going through this training. You're excited about this year. You're excited about what's going to happen, like all the great stuff that's going to be coming to you, where you're going to go with your life over the next 12 months, any and all that stuff. And it all starts with your goals. What are your goals? And I want to applaud you, number one, for being here, but let's not set our goals too low. You're a champion. You're a winner. You're somebody who wants to go to the next level and take not only your life to the next level, but maybe your kids, your friends, your family. Take them to the next level. Remember, people live in proximity. The closer that you are to your goal, and the more they see you winning, the more it will naturally lift them up. So, without further ado, I want to get into my Rope Smart goal setting system. And I know you're like, oh, Rope Smart, this guy's a cowboy. Yeah, I am a cowboy. We all know that. And yes, I have a rope in my office. Those are ropes I used at the national finals, by the way. But Rope Smart is something that rodeo athletes say all the time, like, hey, go rope smart. Be smart about this. Don't be winging it. And I think that's probably the number one thing that keeps people away from like really developing. Number one is athletes, but as human beings and going to the next level, whether it's their relationships or their business or their athletics or anything like that, is that they just wing it. Because winging it is easy. Winging it is what everybody does, right? But I don't want you to be a person that wings it. And if you follow my Rope Smart system, it lays it all out there for you. There is no guesswork for you. The thing is, you follow the system, you follow the framework that's outlined for you, and it makes it so much easier to achieve your goals. And you might have heard something similar to this before, but this is a cowboy's take on it. So let's go through the Rope Smart system. Rope Smart, the R for rope, stands for result. What is the desired outcome that you want? It's very important to remember that when you're doing the Rope Smart system for setting your goals, it's all about one goal at a time. I don't want to see 15 goals in here. See, if we get spread too thin, okay, then we're not going to execute on anything. We're going to get clouded and like, oh no, where do I go? Have you ever seen a deer in headlights? What does a deer in headlights do? Like, I'm blinded. I don't know which way to go. And they usually run towards your vehicle for some reason. Am I the only one that's ever had that happen? I don't think so. I think it happens to everybody. But if you get too many things in front of you and you're blinded, you don't know where to go. You're just going to get overwhelmed and make a bad decision. Bottom line, in this system, we're working on one goal at a time. One thing at a time. We execute on that one, then we move to another. Okay. Now later on in this training, we're going to be talking about, different goals and when to do them and all this kind of stuff. But right now we're going to learn the Rope Smart system to attack and eliminate one goal down, because it's like bowling. If you can knock one pin down, chances are you can knock 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more of them down. So we want to attack one. This system is meant for one goal. Remember that. Now, number 2, overcome obstacles. We talked a lot about confidence in last month's session. We talked about how it's a cycle. So what are the obstacles that are keeping you in this cycle of, hey, I want to do it. I mean to do it. I want to do it. This happened. I fell backwards. This happened. I went back. What are the obstacles? Simply in this, all we want to do is we want to identify them. We want to identify them so we can understand how to eliminate them in our life. Some people may like, hey, I'm suffering with confidence, but I got somebody in my ear that's telling me I'm no good. Somebody that's telling me I'm stupid. Somebody that tells me I'm never going to mount it. I'm never going to make it. Remember, a lot of times when people spout that negativity towards you, they're just reflecting on what happened to them in their life and their insecurities and their experiences, not yours. And we tend to hear these voices, especially if we heard it in adolescence when we were young. We tend to hear these voices for a very, very, very long time. Now, we have to call them out. What is the obstacle that typically sends you back to square one when you're setting a goal? And when you're trying to get from A to B, what's that hill, that mountain, that thing? It could be a couple of things. It could be maybe you're checking Instagram too much when you're trying to be focused on what you're doing. Turn your notifications off on Instagram. Maybe you're a Netflix freak and you love Netflix, and when the show comes out, they ding, and then it takes your attention. No, turn the notifications off. Get laser zoned, get zoned in, get focused. What are the obstacles that are holding you back from achieving your goal? We need to identify those. So I want you to write those down. We got to identify them. We got to call them out. If you do that, you take power over them and you can create a plan to overcome them. Okay, the next thing, prepare. We know what we want. We know the result that we want. We have overcome their obstacles by calling them out. Now it's time to prep. Any general that goes to war and goes to battle, they don't just show up and be like, hey man, let's fight. Yeah, let's go. How many times you see a guy that's like, and they get into the ring and they're going to fight or at a bar or whatever, and they just want to jump in and fight. Like, they're usually the losers. The guy that's calm, cool, collected, that has a plan of action and has training, that's the guy that wins. Anybody going into battle, into war, they have studied their enemy. Same thing here. Calling out the things that are holding us back, and we're preparing. Part of the preparation is the plan. The plan that's going to get your life in order so that, we don't have something that came up that just randomly pops in out of the left field or right field and says, oh, I forgot about that. Now my whole day's ruined. Listen, spend the time, do the groundwork. If you can take this information and actually do the work, then the odds of you actually becoming a winner and a goal achiever are so much higher. They go through the roof. Remember that only 3% of people actually write them down. So if you're writing them down and you're being strategic, the likelihood of you actually getting it done is so much higher. And think about, what could your life look like if you achieved, maybe a small goal first and then a bigger one, then a bigger one, bigger one. Okay. So have that plan, prepare, do the groundwork, and simply right under prepare, just write a sentence or two of what you can do to prepare. Now, this is not a one and done thing. None of this stuff I'm telling you is a one and done thing. This is all a practice makes perfect. And be like, hey, I'm getting better through practice, through repetition, right? Me, I'm a simple cowboy. I mean, I'm not ultra intelligent. The difference is I'm not afraid to put in the work. And there is no amount of failure that's going to separate me from the goal that I want and the dream that I have and the place I want to go with my life. And I want that for you. I want that for you. You deserve it. Take action. I beg with you. I plead with you. Take action. Okay. So do the work. The next thing, we got to execute. We got to execute on the thing that we want. Now, part of the execution is actually being incredibly focused, laser intense. I'm going to do this. Nobody's going to keep me away from it. Many years ago when I set my goal to be a world champion, I set that in 2006. It wasn't until 2016 that I actually got it done. Can you believe that? 10 years of sleepless nights, of grinding, of sleeping in the backseat of my truck, of maxing out credit cards, of maxing out credit lines, maxed them both out, don't tell my banker, sleeping in the backseat of my truck, crying myself to sleep, all this stuff, all this pain, all this failure, everything that sucked. Nobody believed in me, but you know what? I believed in myself. I believed in myself, and I did. There were a couple of people that really believed in me, and it was those couple of people that I leaned on, but I was so intensely focused on the thing that I want that nobody was going to take it away from me. It's not happening. Not the enemy, not circumstances, not the weather, not some money. No, I get my ass up and I'm going to get going, because I knew that if I could change me, I could change my surroundings. And if I can change me, I can change other people's lives, which is why I'm doing this right here, right now, today. So we got to execute. We got to get intense. We got to get focused. And maybe you're a real laid back person and you focus and execute different than I do. That's okay. The key here is I want you to be laser focused. I want you to be laser locked in on that thing that you want so much that nobody's going to take it from you. That the negative voices are going to creep in and steal it from you. That the he said, she said, or the other person casting judgment upon you, they're not going to steal it from you. You're going to get your butt up and you're going to go get it because you're focused and you're a champion. And if nobody else in the world believes in you, I believe in you because I've been there. And I know how tough it is when you feel alone and nobody believes in your dream and you're struggling and you wonder if it's ever going to happen. I believe in you because I've been there. Okay. I got to stop before I'm getting too emotional, but I do believe in you and your ability to win, your ability to succeed, your ability to go to the next level. I believe in you if nobody else does, but you got to execute. The next thing is we've got rope out of the way. Okay. We got our result. We got our overcome objectives. We got our prepare. We got a plan and we got our execution. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, let's you and me make a deal. Let's shake hands. Yeah, that good, firm cowboy handshake. If you like this video, do me a favor. Share it with somebody. Subscribe to the channel. And my end of the bargain, I will bring you everything I know about being a high performer, a world champion, and an entrepreneur. If that sounds like a fair deal, go and hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment too, because I'm going to answer every single comment that comes in on this video. Now is the second part. And really the rope part of this system is all about the baseline, the foundation to go on and have your goals. Now, the SMART is the part where we use our brain and we actually be strategic a little bit more about it. So S on SMART, strengthen. How strong do you feel now? How much more empowered do you feel now that you've laid the framework? You have the strength. You have the foundation to withstand any storm coming your way. It's much like a person who builds his home in sand with a sand foundation, no rock whatsoever. The flood comes and wipes it out. But you who have built your house on rock, but you who have built your house with a firm foundation, you have strength. And that's what strength stands for. How do you feel now that you've laid the groundwork, that you've put in the work? Very few people are putting in the work, but you are. And you have the foundation to move to the next level. So now how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel strengthened? Do you feel energized? Do you feel like you can overcome any obstacle, anything coming your way? Doesn't matter what it is. I've done the groundwork. I already know what my obstacles are. There are no surprises. I've laid all those out. Now I'm feeling strong. Now I'm feeling empowered. There's nothing that's going to set me back. So the S in SMART is our strengthen. Okay, strengthen our body, strengthen our mindset, strengthen our attitude, strengthen our outcomes. M stands for measure. We got to measure that sucker. And when I say measure, I want you to think about like a ruler or a tape measure. You know, they got the little marks all the way through. And imagine every one of those marks is like, mark 1, I set my goal. Mark 2, I overcome my obstacles. I called them out. I did all that stuff. Number 3, I prepared. I had a plan. Bam. Number 4, I executed. Number 5, I strengthened it. I want you to think about all that stuff as I want to be financially independent. That's the obstacle. That's the goal. Overcome obstacles. I got to quit spending money on stupid stuff. That's hash mark number 2. No more Starbucks. No more Netflix. No more wasting money to cover up an insecurity that I have. No more buying fancy things just so other people think I look good. Like, who cares about that crap? Doesn't matter. Number 4, I've been strategic in my finances. Okay, I've done my planning. I've done my preparing. I've went through my bank statements, my credit card statements. I know where money's going in and out every single month. I've done my budget. I've done my planning. Number 5, I'm executing every single day. When I see Starbucks and I'm a little bit strapped, you know what? No, I'm not going to go drink a $6 cup of coffee because I don't need that. I can make a 25-cent one at home. No, I don't need the $75 steak. Personally, with myself, I never buy the fanciest type of vehicle because I don't like spending the money. I think it takes money out of my kids' pockets for them, for their future, for their college, for their foundation, for whatever it is they want to go and do. So I live on a budget, but this is an example of being financially independent. And you get where I'm going. Every single thing has a measurable track. So you got to set it out, your goal, in a milestone type framework that says, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and we just execute all the way through. If there's no way to measure it, think about weight loss. How many people desire January 1 every year to lose weight? Everybody wants to lose weight and get in better shape, but nobody or very few people, matter of fact, we know that there are very few people that actually stick with it all the way to the end. Why do you think that you're getting all the marketing for losing, weight, supplements and all that stuff? And don't get me wrong, I'm not bagging on it because I currently am taking supplements and I do all that stuff and I work on my body and I buy those products from people because I want to grow and get better. But you have to have a trackable and measurable system to get the job done. So, for example, if that's weight loss, measuring our belly every day or once a week probably, measuring our weight once a week, measuring our quads, our thighs, our biceps, all that stuff. And that's measuring it out every single day or every week to know where we were the week before, to reflect back and say, hey, this is where I made a mistake. This is where I need to get better. Bam, 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 done. But you have to measure it out. Now, this is the fun one. A, accelerate. Come on, baby, let's go faster. Let's get going. For me, I like going fast. I'm ADD. We all know that. A friend of mine the other day is like, I never knew you're ADD. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much self-diagnosed, but I'm ADD because he's like, I see it the other day. I never knew that about you. And I was like, well, we were having a conversation and I just kind of like, something else took my attention. And I was just like, kind of like walked off. And he's like, I never knew that about you. Now that you say that, I get it. So for me, I had to work on it for a long, long time. Now I've got it reined in. Okay, I didn't take drugs. I didn't take Ritalin. I didn't take all that stuff that was getting thrown into kids' mouths when I was growing up. Thank God, probably. And so I like to go fast in saying all that. The thing with the acceleration is now it's time for you to add speed, baby, speed. Is that Ricky Bobby? I just want to go fast, mama. There we go. I want you to accelerate your goals. And this is the part where you can reflect back all the stuff. Like, just look at all the stuff. If you laid all that groundwork, that foundation, and you're in a system that says, bam, I'm doing it. Bam, I'm going it. Bam, I'm reviewing my goals every day. Bam, I'm just crushing it. Then that's when we pour on the acceleration, because we're gaining momentum. Acceleration with momentum is awesome. Is like the greatest gift that you could ever get. So when you're reflecting, ask yourself this one question: can I speed this process up by eliminating something in my life? You've noticed the common theme here. We're constantly looking at self-assessment. We're constantly saying, like, what in my life is draining my time, my energy, my focus? And we're going to eliminate those things. And I keep bringing this up through the Rope Smart system because sometimes we miss them in the beginning. We set our overcome objectives and we might miss one. Something might pop up, but we're constantly reevaluating all the way through this Rope Smart system. And it's saying, hey, through that reflection, that reevaluation, I now know what I can do and what I can't do. Because sometimes there are things that you don't want to do. You're going to make mistakes. I mean, I do. I make probably more mistakes than anybody out there. The difference is I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I learn, move forward, learn, move forward, learn, move forward. That's just the way it is. Don't spend any time in self-pity. And for me, that's been the hardest thing to teach people, is because people are taught this from a child. The parents get disappointed in their, I can't believe you did bad at this rodeo. If you'd have just done what I said. See, the kids, they're learning this behavior from the parents. And if the parents ain't lined out, the kids ain't going to get lined out, and it's going to pass on down. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I want you to think about your behavior if you're one of those individuals that beats yourself up. Because number one, it's not good for you. Number two, it's not good for your kids. Someday when you have them, if you don't have them, or if you do have them, do you want to teach them that behavior, just getting mad at themselves all the time? No. Teach them to say, hey, I made a mistake. Let's learn from it. Keep moving forward. And if you're a person who's struggling with getting the momentum and getting the ball rolling, I have something amazing for you. It's called the Cowboy Challenge. Down in the description below, I want you to accept the challenge, the Cowboy Challenge, to give you momentum, to give you resiliency, to give you mental toughness, to go on and chase life. And you can check that out. There's also a ton of free stuff in the description below. And the next one is one that I've kind of covered multiple times, but I keep pounding it in because so many times when people set a goal or the thing that they want, they don't ever go back and say, okay, what's working, what's not working? What's working? Yes, more of that. Yes, please. What's not working? No, get away from me. Negative person? No, get away from me. Somebody trying to steal your dreams? No, get away from me. What was that back in the day? Like, and this is my ADD coming out. But what was that back in the day where the girls would be like, and they would put their hand like, stay away from me. What's working? What's not working? What's working? Come on in here. Come on, let's take that. Let's get some of that. What's not working? No, sir. Get away. No, ma'am. Step back. We're going to reevaluate ourselves. We're going to say, am I in line with the thing that I want to do? Or am I actually drifting away from it? You see, the subtle killer to goals is getting a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and a little bit further. Pretty soon, a week or two, you're so far away from your goal, you're like, how did I get here? People do that all the time with trying to overcome addiction or doing, their money. They don't know how much they spent until they get the credit card statement at the end of the month. It's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay that? That's why we reevaluate. I really think that Rope Smart system, it should be like reevaluated every week or two. Like, seriously, it should be reevaluated every week or two because we tend to just drift away, just drift. And we get further and further and further away from our goals. And the way to get back in tight and get back in action is to get in the face and reevaluate and say, hey, I want to lose the weight. I really want to get there. But you know what? I ate too much over Christmas. I ate too much. I shouldn't have had that snack. I shouldn't have had that stuff that's not good for me. But you know what? Oh well, I made a mistake. Let's get strategic. Let's get the Cheetos out of the house. Let's get the cake out of the fridge. Let's have some self-composure. And bam, we'll keep moving forward. We don't waste time in self-pity, especially when we're reevaluating the things that we want. We don't waste time in self-pity. We don't waste time beating ourselves up. We have a system here. Let's follow the system. I promise it works for you because I care about you. I truly do. All right, and then the last thing in the Rope Smart system is your time frame. You have to have a deadline. You have to have a deadline for every single goal. If you don't have a deadline, it's never going to happen. You got to have a deadline. It's like every year in the new season, rodeo starts. the 1st of October. It ends the last day of September, and there's a deadline. We know who makes the national finals. We know who doesn't make the national finals. We know who makes the World Series, who doesn't. Who makes the Super Bowl, who doesn't. Who makes the cut, who doesn't. Who achieves their goals, and who doesn't. You see, you have to have that deadline to say, bam, smack them in the face, wake up, let's go. But you've got to have a time frame. If you don't have a time frame, you're like a ship, just like out in the ocean without a rudder. Like, hey, I want to get from Miami to London. I don't know how long it's going to take me because I don't have a sail and I don't have a rudder. So I'm just going to be drifting out there going wherever this whole world takes me. And you don't want that. That's why we reevaluate. That's why we reassess our time frame and say, hey, bam, yep, this is not working, this is working. Bam, this is the time frame, this is the new time frame. I thought I could do it this, I couldn't because of that. And now that I fixed that, I can do it here. Because here's the thing, if you are serious about your goals, you need to follow this framework. I promise it'll work for you. I promise it'll work for you because it worked for me. Think about it. I'm a kid from the Midwest. I grew up in between cornfield and some timber. We had 35 acres, a small farm. My dad's a horse trainer. Amazing man. Probably the hardest working man I've ever met in my entire life. But he didn't teach me about financial freedom. He didn't teach me about mindset. What he taught me was repetition, 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 hard work, hard work, hard work, which is amazing. But the place that I live on now is like, I couldn't have dreamed about it where I was as a young man. I could not have dreamed of the life I have now. Financially, spiritually, relationally with my family, and, with my sport and who I'm impacting. Listen, you can do anything that you want. The reason I put this system together was to show you what worked for me. And if it can work for me to get where I am, I promise it can work for you. I promise. And everybody's goal is different, is special, is unique. Yours might be one way, mine might be another. Yours might be one thing that says, hey, I want to fix this relationship with my parents. Mine might be, hey, I want to positively affect 1 million people on this planet, or 10 million people, or 100 million people, whatever it is, right? You can do it. I believe you. Like I said, if nobody in this world believes in you and you're struggling, you got to know that this guy right here believes in you. I know that you can do it. You got to stay hooked. Keep going through it. Use this Rope Smart system. I promise it'll help you. As always, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I truly will read every single comment on this video. And guess what? If you want to watch another amazing video, check this one out right here. I know that it will serve your life. Take care. Adios.